First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakal Kadash. Double honors to elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth with sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim that's out there on the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth in places that you wouldn't think that there'd be an Israelite, but we're set up all over the world, in diverse places you wouldn't think that there'd be an Israelite dwelling among Edomites and all the other wicked, but here we are, coming back to our nationality, blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and the confusion of faith, we that look like the other nations, you wouldn't think that we were Israelites, but if you have the spirit to receive this truth, then you're an Israelite, because an Edomite or any of the other wicked can't receive this truth. They're going to claim Christianity. They're going to claim all these other things. And, well, it's been dissolved. It's been confounded. Christianity has been confounded, because, how do you explain this? That you got how many believers out there? 2.2 million Christians out there, and yet, if that's the way, then why is everything all fucked up? Because it's not the way. That doesn't work, this idea, this notion that God is all love, that there's no judgments whatsoever, that Jesus nailed it all to the cross. That's what we've been taught for years, that, there is no, we're no longer held by the laws, which the laws, only were applicable to the Hebrew Israelites anyways, So, how can that all be nailed? Because, we make this argument, especially when concerning not eating abominable foods, they love to say, oh, well, the law was done away with. So does that mean that murder and robbery is done away with? Because the commandments were, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. But if the law was nailed to the cross, as you say, well, then it's okay to kill and steal, right? As long as you're an Edomite. So that's always an argument, and so they, try this notion that, we're no longer under the law, right? But that's not so, because Yahushai said himself he has not come to dissolve the law, but that the law through him should be fulfilled, that we can be reconciled back to Yahweh, because we had lost our God. We had lost our way. When we came over here in slavery, we were not taught his laws or his ways. We were taught Christianity, and Christianity is a farce from the things. So anyhow, you can see though that what's going on though is that no matter what, these nations cannot stop, trying to impose their rule. Their order, their new world order, like in the Middle East and all over, in the Valley of Yehoshaphat, you can see all these nations gathered together there. But also, in the meantime, since that's sort of quieted down a little bit, but not a lot, you've been seeing a lot of movements of Russia in the Arctic, because Russia has the nuclear base in the Arctic. Why do they have that there? Because they're about to destroy America, Once America, Babylon the Great, had made the choice to go ahead and attack Syria, even though they had warned, but of course Benjamin, not a Jew, has the green light from Russia because no consequences happened to Amalek. Well, Vladimir Putin is a good chess player, because that's what the Russians are, good chess players. So, he's just kind of like, okay, but now moving the Arctic base, because, of course, what is the stronghold of the Israeli state, of Amalek? United States. So he's getting ready to destroy this place, but like everything else, we're in Babylon the Great, and so here we are, all over again, like Jonah all over again, teaching in Nineveh, because this is modern day Nineveh, and most of our people, they're just as wicked as the Edomites, because they've been brought up in their philosophies, and so we have to still go here into Nineveh, even though our people are wicked, and as we have stated many a times, that they're even more wicked than the Edomites, because the Edomites never were given the law. But the Hebrew Israelites, we were given the law, and so when you go off of that, you become like the others. That's even worse. So, you know, people are waxing worse, you know, because they, you know, here we are, we're bringing out this truth, you know, and we're trying to develop good habits, you know, interim fasting and then fasting, you know, so that way we can be more powerful, because it's not a request, it's mandatory that we become more spiritual. It's mandatory that we fast. You know what times we're about to come in. And this is what's happening. Zechariah chapter 14, verse 1. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the horses rifled, and the women ravished, and the half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Well, what's the city talking about? Jerusalem's a people. So the city is talking about America, Babylon the Great. Jerusalem is a people. And remember, if we are part of that elect, we are that new Jerusalem that's come down from heaven, because we're coming back to reconciliation of who we are, which only Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Rakal Kadash can do this. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against these nations, as when he fought the day of battle. And as his feet stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem, on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof towards the east and toward the west, and there shall be a great valley, and half of the mountains shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. So, you know, that's when Yahushua comes back to restore order. Right now, he's restoring order through his people, his servants. And that's what we're trying to do, is rehearse righteous acts. Come back to the law, statutes, and commandments that we were given. Because we are the only ones that could be called sinners. But now, being washed clean, putting on the new man, you know, coming back to righteous statutes, we've been made clean. And so, he's going to come back to redeem his elect from the full course of the earth. And ye shall flee in the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Uzziah. Yea, ye shall flee as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah king of Judah, and the Lord Yahweh shall come, and all the saints with thee. So, you know, that's like that song, when the saints come marching in. That's what this is talking about. You know, we shall come in with thee if we're part of that elect. But it shall be known one day, which shall be known to the Lord, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be in that day that the living waters shall go out of Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them the hinder sea. In summer and in winter shall it be. You know, and this is when Yahushua and his elect come back to rule. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one, which is Yahushua. And all the land shall be turned as a plain from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem. And it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place from Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, and from the tower of Hanel unto the king's wine presses. Because, you know, Yahushua drank a lot of wine. That's why his eyes are a flame of red. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. So all these people that put us in captivity and were confederate with Esau, the so-called white man, they're going to be going into slavery. Their flesh shall consume away, and they shall stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from the Lord shall be heard, shall be among them, and they shall lay hold, every one on his hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. So we're going to be ruling over these other nations. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round out shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. And so shall the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and all the beasts that shall be in these tents as this plague. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. You know, so there's going to be total order restored. And it shall come to pass that whoso will not come up all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahushua, the Lord of hosts, even upon them there shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, they that have no rain shall be the plague, wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So the law and order is going to come back, you know. It's going to be established through Yahushua and his elect. This shall be the punishment of Egypt, which Egypt means bondage, you know, so all those that are in bondage, you know. And the punishment of all nations that shall not come up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. In that day shall there be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto the Lord, and the pots in the Lord's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness, which Jerusalem represents the northern kingdom, and Judah the southern kingdom, unto the Lord of hosts, and all that sacrifice shall come and take of them, and see thee therein. And in that day there shall be no Canaanite in the house of the Lord of hosts. So in other words, Israel, you know, the real Israelites, we're not going to share this with any other heathens. This is our land that's been promised to us. We're going to get it back from these goddamn Amalekites, those fake-ass Jews. We're going to reclaim everything that was once ours, you know? And it's going to be better because the whole world is going to have to come and keep the Feast of Tabernacles from year to year. They're going to serve slavery forever. And Esau shall be burnt up after the 1,000 years. So I hope this has been edifying. Like everything else, though, keep on teaching in Nineveh, because the time's going to come that Yahushua is going to deliver his elect, you know? But we have to endure to the very end of it. Shalom.